Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my live. I am so glad to come and do one of these again. And today, the topic is around the 3 steps to grow your network as an introvert. And I'm so excited to talk about this because I know a lot of different introverts around me. And so, this is something that I thought would deserved a live today. So, introversion is something that I've thought about so much because it's one of those things that kind of get a bad rap. Sometimes it's like you're wondering if, or people wonder if you're good enough to be a leader or if you are qualified because you're not the extroverted out there and you're just like, happy go lucky like most extroverts are. And because I think of myself as an introvert, especially in the workplace, I feel the need to talk about it. For me, introversion comes from a deep desire to really protect my energy, to protect my peace, to protect my psychological safety. And I remember a time earlier in my career when I felt overwhelmed at work because I was constantly trying to show up in spaces that literally drained me. Like just the amount of pressure to perform or to show up or to speak up actually drained me. And I would leave, for instance, meetings feeling like I had nothing left for myself. And it definitely impacted my ability to focus and leave from a place where I felt like it was abundant, like it was energizing. And so it got really hard for me to do that. And so over time, what happened was I started operating in a way where I would stay away from meetings or I would stay away from opportunities or just wouldn't show up until it started to have an impact on my career. And I realized that if I stayed in that space, I literally wouldn't be able to achieve any of my career goals or build the relationships I needed in order to succeed. And that's why today I want to share with you 3 steps that I have learned to take in as an introvert to help me grow my career as an introvert. These steps are going to help you build the connections that you need and that are beneficial to you in a way that feels a lot more authentic and it does not drain you so you can advance in your career without burning out. One thing I've learned about advancing in your career is that having a network is a non negotiable. It is the key to promotions, it's the key to earning more pay, and it's the key to having more opportunities and to really have people speak up for you in rooms that you are not in. But many of us have been taught that we should value independence or pulling our own selves up by our own bootstraps and all these other things that we don't look at networking as a non negotiable that I know now truly is. And I know y'all remember when Destiny's Child in the 90s told us that we had to be independent women. That was like the anthem of the year, and so that has stayed with people. Like they should be independent and they should do things all by themselves. But I know there's an African proverb that says, if you want to move slow, move by yourself. And if you want to go fast, go with someone else. Something like that. It's definitely not the way that quote goes. But you get my rift. There is something to say. There's an African proverb that says you need to take people with you in order to move. So let me know. Let me check in with you. Let me know in the comments if you understand what I mean. If you've experienced this as an introvert, have you experienced this as well, where there was just this thing about being independent? For me, my message came from childhood. I am the eldest of 6 siblings, and I grew up watching my mom take charge and handle literally everything. She had this get shit done attitude, which by all means is admirable, and it's like things that we have to do it. And I'll just add another layer of that is being a woman of color, where oftentimes we are left as women to manage the household and do things and really take charge. But as a young girl, I internalized that. I believe that independence meant not waiting on anyone, doing it by my damn self, or for a long time, I carried that into my career. And I thought, I don't need nobody. I do not need anyone else. I can do this. I've succeeded. I've gotten this far. I can do it. But I realized that while independence is important, no one truly thrives by themselves. And it actually took me longer to achieve the success that I have achieved because I was trying to do it by myself. So before we dive into the three steps, I do want to reframe networking. For many of us, the idea of networking feels heavy. It feels draining. It feels exhausting. It feels transactional. It even feels inauthentic sometimes because we know that usually, normally, when we have been taught networking, it's like you got to network so you can get, right? So it feels inauthentic. But what if we looked at it differently? And what if instead of thinking about networking, we called it community building? Would that support you? I know for me, it support me because our brains are wired for connection. Historically, humans have thrived in groups because of shared resources, to solve problems collectively, to protect one another. And then today, building community not only helps us grow professionally, but it also decreases the feeling of being alone. And so for me, the reframe has been helpful because I used to think networking was all about showing up perfectly polished at events, making all the small talk. And oh, God, small talk is really difficult for me. And that really left me feeling drained and unenergized. But when I began to see it as an opportunity to build relationships, to create community with people who genuinely inspire me, it started to feel more aligned with my energy. And I could be more myself to say, hey, let me get a moment to just be by myself and process before I jump back into it and it be acceptable. So, making the shift to seeing networking as a way to create a supportive community can also be an act of self care. Imagine that. Community can give you the self care you need. Because as introverts, protecting our energy is also a non negotiable. And networking can sometimes feel like a threat to that. But here is how you can approach it as a part of your self care. The first thing is to set boundaries. I want you to decide when and how you, your feelings, your personality, how you want to engage. As an example, you can limit the number of networking events, limit the number of people or meetings or things that you schedule in your week so you have the space to recharge. You don't have to show up to all the meetings you're invited to. Also, like I like to tell my clients, is to actually be clear on how much time you will give to the networking process. So if you attend an event, know how long you will stay there. Be clear. Okay, I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to do it for 1 hour. I'm going to meet this number of people. This is my intention and this is my exit plan. Know what that is so you don't feel like you're chained to the event. Because sometimes we have these events and it's just going, 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 and we don't know how to, exit. I'm known for Irish goodbye. I definitely am. But if you don't want to feel guilty from that, just make a plan and know how you want to get out. So set your boundaries. The second thing is to focus on quality over quantity. And again, this is how to incorporate self care into the network. And this is what you need to think about prior to even getting into the networking. This is the prep work. So focus on quality over quantity. And instead of meeting everyone, prioritize the deeper connections with a few people who truly align with your goals. So, not all networking has to be done at an event. Maybe it's in the workplace and there's a few people that you want to meet. Figure that out and then make a plan to meet with those people. The third thing is to prepare ahead. Write down what you want to share or ask before connecting. Just as introverts don't like small talk, extroverts don't like feeling like they're wasting time. So no, they're very red. They're very like, okay, what is it? What do you want to talk about? bullet points, like have it prepared on what you want to share and how you want to connect. And this can help you ease the pressure of thinking on the spot, but it also shows you as being prepared. It shows you that you have some sense of what you want. I know in my experience, introverts need a lot of thinking time to process, and it makes it hard to think on the tick of a dime. So the more preparation, the better. And then build in recovery time. You need your recovery time. You're going to engage with people, you're going to engage with the community, but you need to give yourself time to rest. And this might look like journaling. You can take a walk, you can have a nice bubble bath, or you could just simply sit quiet to process. Or, like I like to do, you could take yourself to sleep. Sleeping is good, it nourishes the soul. Rest is everything. So, make sure you build in recovery time. And this is all just planning. As an introvert, you it's required so that your nervous system isn't jacked up and so you don't feel like your energy is drained, is to plan as much as you can for the networking process that you want to put yourself through in service of your career. When we think of networking as community building, we honor the need we have for connection while also seeing this as self care to respect our need for restoration. Okay. It's not about forcing yourself into spaces where you don't belong or show up inauthentically. It's about aligning with people who energize and uplift you. So, as part of this process or this phase of networking, I want you to take a moment and think about one way you can integrate self care into your approach to networking. Maybe it's setting boundaries, maybe it's creating time for rest, or maybe it's focusing on connecting with one person this week. Drop your ideas in the comments, each one teach one, and write them down as a commitment to yourself. Okay. I really want you to drop these. When we talk about building community, the chat box is where we begin. Okay. So now we've prepared, it's time to connect. And here are the 3 ways that you can do this as an introvert. First of all, this is also sort of like preparation, but this is actively getting into networking, is to have a clear why. Have a clear why or intention, aka intention. Many of us go with the flow in our careers and we think my boss is going to advocate for me or I'm doing such good work. How can they not notice it? I will be noticed or recognized for my hard work. But that is not true, especially if you are a woman of color or a person of color. But if you're going to grow in your career, you must be intentional. I remember when I was working in a role where I thought I didn't need to network because I was doing such great work. Shit, I'm the bomb, right? That's what I thought. And this was my first retail job. And if you know anything about retail, you can be overlooked or lost in the freaking sauce because there is so much going on a day to day. Literally, there's so much in and out customers, product, all the things. And there was a promotion that came up and I wanted to go for it, but nobody was looking at me or tapping me on the shoulder for the promotion. Even though I was the bomb. I was doing great work, but I hadn't built those relationships that I needed to actually position myself for that next level. That literally woke me up. It pushed me to get real with myself. And I was like, girl, you need to build a network like yesterday. I wanted the opportunities, not just to grow my career, but to have a bigger impact. Okay. When we are connected more to our why and to the bigger impact we make, we could get tired and still go. We still anchor, we still stick with it. We don't just give up. When there's no why, we're kind of like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. Right. But we know we cannot do it when it comes to networking. So ask yourself, what's your why? Maybe it's to find mentors, maybe it's to gain visibility for new opportunities, or maybe you just want to build a support system for your leadership journey. Whatever that is, what is your why? Write it down. The second thing is to be clear about who you need in your network. So once you know your why, the next step is knowing who. Not everyone needs to be in your network. You are the average of the 5 people that you're around. So at least 5 people needs to be in your network that are close in proximity to you. So think about who are those people that actually align with your career goals or who inspires you. They teach you something. I think Oprah teaches me lots of things, right? And she's not necessarily in my network, but she is an extension of someone who I can learn from, right? So it could be a celebrity, y'all. You can learn a lot of things from celebrities. They write books, they make speeches, they do amazing things in your community, and you may not know them directly, but this is an extension of your community that inspire you. I used to think that networking meant connecting with as many people as possible, like speed dating, right? If you think about networking, like be real with me. If you think about networking on a day to day, it's almost like, especially as an introvert, you're thinking, oh my God, it's like speed dating. Like I'm talking to one after the other. And I'm like talking. And I'm tired at the end. But that approach will leave you drained and disconnected. But when you get intentional, that's when things change. So, for example, I identified one leader in the last organization that I worked in who was excellent at advocating for her team. And I made it a point to connect with her and learn from her. She became a mentor to me and still to this day, still consistently pours into me. That actual one connection actually opened doors for me that I didn't even know existed, supported me when I was like almost being blackballed in the company. She helped me when someone was trying to prevent me from moving on in the company. Your network is your support system. Let me tell you, they will get you to the next level. And you know what? Having that person in my network actually helped me go from an entry level role to 3 levels higher up to director level. Okay. The amount of income was almost like a 200% increase. This is the power of a network. So make a list of the kinds of people you want in your network, not just who, but what are the kinds of people? You want somebody who maybe is direct, or you want somebody who has access to a network. You want someone who you can leverage their network. Maybe it's someone who can teach you, who you can be a successor for. Whatever that is, make a list of those people. And let me tell you this other thing. It doesn't have to just be a leader. It can be, and I think we're all leaders. So I'm using that word loosely, but it doesn't just have to be someone in management, upper management, but it could also be a peer who's killing the game, who's like, oh, they're doing it. Or somebody who you're like, I admire their work ethic. I admire how they can get shit done. Write those people down and make a plan to connect with them. And then the third step is crucial that not a lot of people who talk about networking talk about. Ask yourself, how are you going to give back to your network? Okay. Networking isn't a one-way street, and it also disrupts your nervous system when you're trying to make transactional connections. When you are only networking for a transaction to take place, you are only giving to get. Your energy will not be inviting or welcoming. People will notice that energy, and they will feel like you are just about your damn self. So you have to make connections to truly be in relationship. Okay. If it's somebody that you don't think you're going to be in relationship with, don't, right? But maybe there's somebody connected to them that you can be in relationship with. That way you tap them, you leverage their network. Okay. You don't have to be in relationship with anybody who you don't feel like can create a genuine relationship with. Okay. And to really feel like you're having an impact, you do need to give back. Okay. Our purpose in life is not just about us, it's about legacy, it's about generational, it's about the things that you can, help support for the people coming up behind you. I remember reaching out to someone for advice. It was just advice, okay, about a project. And after they helped me, I followed up to share how their guidance made a difference for me. And I offered to help them on one of their initiatives. And that simple act of reciprocity strengthened our relationship so much. So think about what you can offer, whether it's sharing resources, celebrating someone's work publicly, or just being a good listener. Like you just want to support somebody in that way. But think of the ways that you can give back to your network so that they don't feel like you're just tapping them for something. They feel like they can go to you for something too. Growing your network as an introvert isn't about becoming someone else. It's not becoming somebody you're not. You don't need to find an extroverted part of you. Like I always hear that from people. They're like, I just have to find the extroverted part of myself in order to do this great. No, 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 no. You don't have to do any of that. It's just about having a clear purpose. It's about building meaningful relationships. It's about giving back in a way that feels authentic to you and does not drain you. When you actually approach networking as a community building process, it actually becomes easier and you will see how many people you do attract. You will attract people when you are in, I don't want to use the word love, but when there's like an energy, like a heart to heart, you will attract those people. So, take these 3 steps and reflect on how you can apply them this week. And I'll just repeat what those are. The 3 steps is 1, have a clear why. 2, be clear about who you need in your network. And 3, focus on giving back. And remember, as an introvert, your strength lies in the depth of your connections, how deep your connections can go, how well you can build a relationship, not how many people there are. Okay. If you want to go deeper on some of these concepts, I want you to book a call with me because I share 3 steps here, but I have an entire framework of networking that is embedded in a roadmap that supports your overall vision for your career. And I would love to help you. One of the things that I get most complimented about is how many people I know and the relationships that I have built. My networking, as I mentioned, has literally gotten me a promotion, but it's also gotten my son into the private school of his dreams, okay? And I just saw this person a week ago and I was like, "Oh my god, he's thriving. Thank you so much. It's just wonderful that, we connected with you." And let me tell you, I met this person at a basketball game. My son is literally in the school of his dreams because my willingness to create a relationship with this person, well, my husband and I both created the relationship, but you just never know how far your network can take you. And until you step out, you can be an introvert and build a network. It doesn't have to be hard. And as a matter of fact, something that I teach is you don't even have to go to events to network. Don't go. And I have a thing that I say, you don't need to go to happy hours. You could do it in your 9 to 5. Okay. So it is easy. It is simple. It is an easy way. I have an easy framework that you can follow. And I would love to talk to you. So book a call. Let's talk. And I hope you enjoy today. Have a great afternoon. Talk to you soon. Bye.